Ready? Good evening, everyone. This is Kim Ross, Superintendent of Schools. I want to apologize. I know that our intentions were to live stream. Right now, we're experiencing some internet issues. We're working on it through NARIC. So we are recording this broadcast of our regular meeting. And today is Thursday, August 6th. You'll be able to watch this through the YouTube channel, the Green Island YouTube channel. I know that a post was put on social media that if there are any questions or comments for the public comment, please fill out that Google form. Right now, we don't have any posted, but Ms. DeCembo is monitoring that from a location where she does have internet. So again, apologies to everyone. You know, we make do the best we can, but this is an act of God and beyond our control. So here we are, our first in-person board meeting since March. Thank you to the board members for being here. As you can see, we are safely socially distanced from each other, at least 6 feet. And we're gonna start the board meeting. So, Ms. Ryan.
Thanks. Can I get a motion to call the meeting to order?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We don't have any comments for the first public comment.
No, and I asked Ms. DeCembo if one pops up to shoot me a text with a question.
Perfect. Can I get a motion to approve the Board of Ed minutes for the, was it the July regular meeting?
Regular and reorg, sorry.
That's okay. For the July regular meeting.
And the reorganization.
Oh, and the, oh, that's right, and the July reorganizational meeting.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks. Okay, superintendent's report.
Okay, so I've got a few things. You're going to see on the agenda tonight, one of the first items is the approval of the Department of Health summer reopening document. That's basically for staff to come in for professional development, work on their rooms. We had to put in place a protocol. Part of the protocol is that every staff member who comes into the building has to view this COVID safety video that was created by the BOCES team, health and safety team. We are doing daily self-health assessments. So it's basically the 4 questions like, do you have a fever? Have you traveled outside to one of the zones, the areas, et cetera, et cetera. Each employee has to fill that out. It's initialed by administrator. And so that's what the reopening document is. You're also going to see there's the reopening plan. I had done a community forum last week. It was well received. At one point we had 197 viewers watching that community forum. It lasted a little over an hour. As the board knows that you watched it. I've gotten some good feedback. I've actually had some parents reach out and ask questions, clarifying questions. I want to emphasize that the reopening plan is just a framework. It's just a structure, and we are working on filling the holes and for more guidance from the governor's office and as we get closer to the opening of school. So that is a living document, and as things change and we adjust, I will continue to communicate to the Board of Education and as well as the community. Let's see, I have added August 27th meeting to the board meeting calendar. I think that as we get closer to school and we have to adjust policy, procedures, and protocols, it'll be important right before school starts to meet and to update the Board of Education.
Is that at 6?
Yes, at 6
Okay.
o'clock. Yep,
Thank
August
you.
27th at 6 o'clock. It
Alright.
is on the agenda for the approval.
Okay.
You're going to also see that on the agenda is the different reports, administrative reports throughout the school year. As for, let me backtrack here. As for the reopening plan, one of the guidelines within the SED is that parents should have choice if they want to do fully remote, or if they'd like elementary, their child to be in person, or secondary, a hybrid model. So we are sending out a survey to parents on Monday, asking them some basic questions like, do they plan on sending their child? If they don't, if they're going to opt into the full remote option, what technology needs do they have? Do they have internet? We want to make sure that we can fully support them. And again, it is a parent's choice, right? And we firmly believe and support that. One of the criteria, though, if a parent does choose to go fully remote, is that it has to be in 5-week increments. For the purpose of planning students in class and the in-person sessions. So our marking periods go every 5 weeks. So if a parent chooses to do remote, they have to commit to it for 5 weeks. And they can opt in, but we need to make sure that we have the resource and the staff to support the fully remote. So we're requesting that parents make sure that they make that commitment. It's for 5 weeks.
Next question.
Sure.
So is the commitment only to do 5 weeks commitment if you're opting your child into remote? What if you opt for the hybrid model for a 7 through 12 student, but then for some reason you're uncomfortable sending them to school and you want to pull them to full remote? Do you have to wait till the 5-week marks? Or can you do that at
So
any
the
time?
committee talked about it, and the consensus is that you can opt them to go fully remote, but then you need to finish that 5-week increments, right? So we have our quarters are 10 weeks long, and we do 5-week marking periods. So say you're 2 weeks in, and you notice there's a spike, or you're uncomfortable, or you're nervous, and you decide to opt your child out, you have to commit to the end of that 5-week marking period.
Okay.
So if you're 4 weeks in, et cetera, but we have to make sure that opting in, that we have the support and the support for the remote as well, because we have to reassign staff to support the fully remote as well. So just trying to navigate, making sure that we're supporting every kid's needs and parents' wishes. But that's subject to change, as we get closer and more guidance comes out, we may have to create different guidelines for that. But right now, tentatively, that's what we're thinking. I know that a lot of districts are actually doing semesters. Like if you choose to go remote, you have to do it for at least a semester. And I think that that limits parents' options based on where the metrics go. So we should know more in the coming weeks. But on August 27th, that will be one of the protocols that we discuss and the board approves. Reopening team, amazing. I can't express the gratitude of nearly 30 educators and parents and stakeholders coming together. The process was, we had an initial one large meeting, drafted what the guidelines that we had at the time, the guardrails we like to call them. Then we broke up into subcommittees, and then the subcommittees met, and then they came back together, came back to the table. Luckily, the SED guidance, the 145-page document, came out came out 2 Thursdays ago. Was it 2 Thursdays ago? That provided more guidance for us and those parameters to work with. And then we pulled all the subcommittees' recommendations together. And I worked with the administrative team to say, well, this would work, but this is what DOH is saying, or CDC is saying, or SED. So we had to tweak some of the recommendations, but I think they worked really, really hard. They gave up their time, their summer time. They didn't ask for compensation, so I'm incredibly grateful for the 30 individuals. The administrative team has worked tirelessly in the last month, making sure we provide the best plan moving forward that makes sure that students and staff are as safe as possible. So thank you to the reopening team. But, as I said during my community forum, no school leader, teacher, parent, student has gone through a global pandemic, right? There's no rule book. There's no superintendent that I can call across the state and say, hey, how should we do this? So we're all learning as we go. And we're going to make mistakes, but we'll fix them as we go, and we'll learn as we go. You're going to see in here that there are 2 stipend positions that are going to be supported by a grant. and moving forward and reimagining education and rethinking what the new norm is. I have consulted across the state to different superintendents and school districts, and we're going to dip our toe in the water. There is a stipend position that will be supported by school improvement funds. It's the MTSS, Multi-Tiered System of Supports. That is the new name for RTI. So this position, there's a job description included in your board packet, will work as a teacher leader in assessing kids when they come back, designing those benchmark assessments, working within the data, making sure that there's recommendations, and supporting our students. Because we know every student coming back is going to have academic gaps across the country. And so it's really important that we have a teacher leader lead that charge in addition with the administrators. The other stipend position is an instructional technology coach. Again, that's another teacher leader. Many districts are shifting to this type of position. Actually, many districts, even our size, are putting a teacher on special assignment, and that is their sole job. But again, we're dipping our toe in the water. So this teacher leader is going to work, obviously, in conjunction with the MTSS coordinator and the administrative team and with the IT department on the software end and teaching teachers on how to use different platforms in remote learning and troubleshooting. So those positions were posted. I'm working with the union right now on an MOA for these two stipend positions, and hopefully we'll have somebody in place by the end of next week. Just want to give the board a heads up that the new timeline, I forwarded to you, the new timeline for the capital project is available. I forwarded to the capital project team, the stakeholder team. We're going to have to look at either the 27th, the August 27th meeting, or the September 3rd meeting. We need to move forward with it. So I have asked Chuck at BPD, our financial advisors, and Dan at CSR to do a final. Here is this very minimal capital project to keep the bond stable and so that it doesn't affect our taxes. And it will be at no cost to the taxpayers of the community because it will keep that bond stable. Lastly, I'm going to send out an email to the board members to sign up for their committees. So we have the Curriculum and School Improvement Committee. We have the Policy Committee, which is pretty intense. And then the Capital Project Facilities Committee. So like the Curriculum School Improvement Committee will probably meet every 2.5 months. Capital Project will kick up a little bit, probably every month, and the Policy Committee. So I'll reach out to the board members and ask, and then ask for preferences like day and time, and then from there, for the August 27th meeting, I will have a calendar for those committee meetings. So that's all I have for the superintendent. And does anybody have any questions?
No, I think so.
I just want to thank you and reiterate your thanks and congratulations to the reopening team. That's a massive lift with a lot of challenges. So good job.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to you and to the whole team.
Yep, the team did amazing. It certainly wasn't a one-person job. All right, so do you want me to just go on to
Yeah,
questions?
sure.
Okay, so Mr. Carwell couldn't be here this evening, so he wrote a report for me. Buildings and grounds, custodial staff has been working very hard throughout the summer, and their normal summer workload has been finished. So they've been able to, the goal was by August 1st to have their normal summer workload done, like the floors, and they look beautiful, so that we could take August preparing for opening, right, the measures that we need to take. We are having some room changes based on class size. So for example, 3rd grade is going to be in the art room so that we can keep them together and socially distance them. Some classrooms we can fit about 12 kids in, socially distanced. And then, the incoming 3rd graders, because they're a little bit bigger, we're going to put them in the art room. So custodial staff is going to take the month of August. We've kind of have a draft plan of the moves that need to happen. They've got some great safety and health protocols in place as well. Mr. Cardwell is working with the teachers to have them return to the building to remove any personal items they may have in their classrooms in anticipation of this new configuration. So the reason why we're having them take out personal items is, one, we need as much space in the room as possible. And two, because we have to sanitize every day, if they have certain belongings, and if you work in a workplace, right, when they spray, it kind of ruins all your papers, it could ruin pictures, it could ruin, cozy corners and things like that. So teachers are going to be rotating in to get their personal items. They have cleaning and disinfecting protocols for all the classrooms, offices, and common areas. And they're in the process of creating logs for each custodian to use once school reopens. We did receive our first delivery of PPE from the Capital Region BOCES this week. We got some masks, face shields, gowns, thermometers, etc. We do have additional items that would need to be delivered. However, the vendors are currently back ordered and waiting on some of them. We should receive them in the next few weeks. Once we receive additional guidance from New York State, we will be working to make adjustments to our classrooms that are necessary. They will consist of not only moving furniture and desks, but also the installation of barriers, which will need to be approved by New York State prior to being installed. We're also looking to the use of the cafeteria and the gym as classroom areas. This requires, because we're repurposing an area, requires a submission of plans to the New York State Facilities Planning, and we're working with our architect on that. So because we're going to repurpose the gym as a classroom and the cafeteria, there's some paperwork through SED. I do want to note, this kind of crosses between Chris and I. I rewrote the Smart Bond Act grant, Smart Bond Monies grant, back in April. Well, it started in March, April. I wrote it in 2 submissions. I'm happy to announce that last Thursday we were awarded our first submission. It was approved, which is yay, because I know the district has been waiting years for this money. The first submission is going to include more Chromebooks so that we can extend one-to-one technology down to kindergarten. Technology in kindergarten is going to be iPads because they don't have the fine motor skills to navigate mouse. And then we're in the process of ordering more Chromebooks. We're working through a couple of vendors. We've got some decent prices, but we want to make sure we get them here in September. And as well as the first submission that was approved for, we were awarded nearly $58,000 will be to make sure that all our teachers have a laptop so that they can have a laptop that goes from school to home. So the goal is, right, fluid. We want to, if we're in person or remote, it's always fluid. It's fluid for our teachers, fluid for our students. Also with this first submission that was approved is MiFi hotspots. So we were able to purchase 6 of them with data plans that we can help troubleshoot any families who may lose internet for a period of time. So we're working on those. We're ordered. Those are due to be in a couple weeks.
Can I ask a question about the Smart Bond?
Yeah.
So does it require procurement rules because it's state monies?
Well, I've been working through BOCES
Okay.
and making sure the things that we're procuring follow in line what is allowed. So there's someone at BOCES who has a direct connection to the Smart Bond Committee at State Ed, and I have her name as well. And everything that we're looking at, like, are we, is this allowable? Can we procure this, et cetera, et cetera. So
I just imagine you'd need at least price quoting from multiple places because they're liked items over $3,000.
actually, they don't require for a bidding process.
Not a bid, but the word's escaping me because I'm tired. But it's price quoting. So, and there's a documentation standard for anything above a micro purchase, and so a bunch of devices, iPads or whatever,
Right.
Chromebooks, are considered like items. So I imagine it'll cost more than $3,000.
Right. So I'll make
So
sure.
just make sure, because, you can get hit in an audit,
Mhm.
whether it be internal or through the comptroller if you don't document it right.
Right. So what I'll do is just to follow up. I'll follow up with Marvin and Company, and I'll follow up with Roxanne at BOCES. So
Okay.
she's the one who helped me rewrite the Smart Bond grant and has been securing quotes for us. So I can continue to work with her to make sure that we are doing what we need to do.
Okay.
So the second submission, I'm told that the review board is going to be looking at it in the coming weeks, is to buy more classroom technology, interactive panels, so that teachers can, every teacher will have an interactive panel that they can use software on, as well as, if they need to do any remote learning. So that is the second submission. And those are not on back order. So if we get approved, we'll be able to order those right away. Yeah, the Chromebooks and any type of laptops are hard to receive, but right now, the 2 quotes we received, one said that it would be here early September, and then the other quote we received was at the end of September. So,
And you know what, thinking about procurement, COVID's a hardship, and so just documenting that might be enough to just go with whatever quotes you already have.
Yeah, I'll double check. You know me,
Yeah.
I'm a rule follower.
Yeah.
I don't want
There might even be a waiver for state funds. I don't know what Smart Bond falls under. But
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll double check though, because like I said, I'm a rule follower. So financially, to keep going, Chris and I are gonna be working on the CARES Act combined funding application. It's due on the 15th or the 14th. Friday's the 14th, right? It's due on the 14th. So basically, we were allocated $67,000, and Chris could probably correct me, but I'm pretty sure $67,000 the district was allocated for this CARES Act, but we have to fill out the financial forms to support that. It is not going to be an issue because we have spent a lot of money on just the PPE. We've spent a lot of money on shifting to doing live streaming and support, a lot of the internal support, teachers working overtime to shift to this remote learning model. So Chris and I will work on that next week. That's our priority, to get that submitted so that we can receive those funds, the federal funds. Prior to the Marvin Company working on the audit this week, Kim and Chris sat down with Sarah Morrison from Questar Boces, went through the financial information. Chris is very pleased that this process was much faster than last year, and he has not yet to see any substantial areas of concern from talking with Marvin and Company. In fact, Marvin and Company have been very gracious. In fact, a pat on the back to our buildings and grounds. They said this is the cleanest school that they've been in.
wow.
But just between our cleaning protocols and people wearing masks, and so they are very, very impressed.
That's awesome.
Our goal is to have the audit completed by the end of September or the beginning of October, and have it submitted for approval for the October meeting. Now, we do have an early October meeting, but we could, if we needed to accept that audit. We need to accept the audit to post it to the comptroller so that we get our funding. So if need be, we'll add another quick board meeting in October. He's also heading into school tax time. He's going to be working with Kim Watkins and Linda on the submission of the tax information, which is like the formulation and mailing of our tax bills, and the collection process. I just want to note that within the collection process, most school districts are now not able to take tax payments in person, right? What part of our safety measures is to limit people coming into the building. So Chris, Kim, and Linda will figure out how that's going to work, so there won't be any more walk-up people paying their school taxes. That's all I got. Any questions?
No?
They don't do that through the bank?
No.
You can.
So we'll have an option here and an option at the bank?
Well, the
On your
option
bank?
coming here won't be able to happen
Oh, okay.
this year because of COVID and
So
restricting the
they'll have
people
to
in the
do it at the
building.
bank or mail?
Right.
Right.
I don't think we had too many walk-ups last year. Most
I
people
never
do it that
saw
way.
That's why I
Most people do it at the
asked the
Yeah, they
question. I didn't
usually
think
do
we
it in the
did
bank. Yep.
anymore. We used to have somebody sit at the door and take them, but
Yeah,
Yep.
I haven't seen that in quite a while.
yeah. And because we, per SED guidance, we need to limit who comes into the building.
Right. That makes sense.
School business only, like
Right.
teachers. And that's it.
Yep.
Any questions, thoughts?
No, I think we're good.
Oh, just one last thing. You're going to see that on the board agenda that Mrs. Christy Jaros has applied and has accepted a position to return back to Heatley. So we are very excited. She missed home, and so now she's back, and we welcome her with open arms.
Good, welcome
Yeah.
back, Christy. Okay. Thank you, Kim, for both reports, and thank you, Chris, for his contributions to the business report. Okay, we have a number of recommended actions. If I can get a motion to approve items 6.01 through 11.01, which Kim highlighted a few of the key ones for us in her reports.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, did we hear from Tiffany if there were any public comment questions or?
I will ask her. You know, technology is great.
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay, so.
I have something in public
Sure.
comment, yeah. And I'm not doing this just because Mr. Miller's here, but George Miller, for many, many, many years in this village, doing all kinds of good things, and I'd start and mention them, but I'd probably forget 2 or 3. He did so many great things in Green Island, and he was the president of the board when I was teaching here, and a lot of issues came up, and he did a grandiose job with those issues. He was very fair to the teachers, and he was fair to the taxpayers. He listened, and he didn't make snap judgments. He thought about things in a way that was best for everybody. And I am very sad to hear that he passed away within the last week or so. And I want him to be recognized here in a public forum, all the great things he did, and how sad I am to see that in the obituaries. I didn't realize he was in bad physical shape. But, I don't want that to pass.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McManus, yes. I mean, he is a legend
Oh, yes.
within this community and within this school district, and our deepest condolences to Jeff and his family.
Yes. Thank you, Red.
Thank you. Tiffany said there is no questions on the form, so.
Okay, and I don't think we're having an executive session, or we are?
Yeah.
Okay, so, we won't be taking.
It won't be taking
Yeah,
an
won't
action,
be taking
executive
action.
session for the purpose of discussing personnel.
Okay, oh, that's right, personnel matter, yeah.
Mhm.
So we'll sign off now, and then we will briefly come back into public, but that probably won't be live streamed, just to adjourn.
Right, to adjourn, yeah.
Right, but we won't take any further action.
No.
Okay, motion to go into executive.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.